In this pleasant morning at the end of September, I had the idea of coming here to the whole town of Palermo to have a nice walk. I want to precise since now that I'll be able to show just a part of it, as you gotta know that the city center of Palermo is one of the biggest in Europe. If I'm not wrong, it's supposed to be the second one after the one of Lisbon in Portugal. Let's start the tour with the Massimo Theatre. If you ever decide to come to Palermo and to visit the whole town, it's impossible not to note it because of its size. In fact, this one is the third one in Europe as a size after the Opera of Paris and the Staatsoper of Vienna. It has been built in the second part of the 19th century. According to the legend, its construction wasn't easy at all, as the workers were frequently tortured by the presence of a ghost. In fact, it was necessary to call a priest to get the blessing to let that ghost go away. Most likely it's just a legend, but I just wanted to let you know about that. Before leaving this gigantic square called the Piazza Verdi, a last general view of the Massimo Theatre. I'd like to show you that better, but it will take us very long, and as I told at the beginning of the video, the old town of Palermo is huge, so if you don't want this video to last 3 hours, it's better to move on. What can I tell about the temperature today? It's very pleasant, it's just 25 degrees, and trust me, for Palermo it's really not bad, considering that according to the calendar we are still on summer. Precisely, it will be over tomorrow on the 21st of September. I remember clearly that the summer last year was definitely longer than this one. In fact, on September I used to go to swim quietly. I mean, for me as a Sicilian, going to swim when the temperature is maximum 25 degrees or even lower, it's a bit hard, as I find the water pretty fresh. But I imagine that for people living in North Europe, like Norwegian, Swedish and so on, for them it's very acceptable. In fact, by talking to a Swedish guy a couple of days ago, he told me that the current temperature we are having in Palermo, it's practically their summer. Now I want to start with another topic. I want to talk about the tourism growing in Sicily. You have to know that it's going well every year more. To let you understand better the situation, it's very important to mention the data about the airport of Palermo. In fact, we have to underline that this summer, and specifically on the month of July and August, it has beaten its personal record by having 1 million passengers per month. It's crazy for such airport. I know that in absolute terms these are not big amounts, as there are several airports that frequently register better numbers, but for Palermo it's extraordinary, and it remains that this land is appreciated by worldwide people more and more. What means all this mass of tourists keep on coming here? First of all, it's a great satisfaction to me as a Sicilian, and secondly, and even more important, it remains creation and spread of richness. In fact, I'm noticing that new restaurants, coffee shops, hotels are popping up practically everywhere, as the demand for this kind of activities is increasing rapidly. However, where are we headed now? We are going towards the ancient center of the Old Town of Palermo. That place is practically a crossroads, and it's called Quattro Canti. You gotta know that it was the Spanish to create this layout, this current layout for the old town. In short, they divided the city into 4 main neighborhoods. Soon we'll be able to admire that crossroads. Now I'm giving you an input to understand the essence of the Sicilian culture. In fact, it's very important to precise that here we have been dominated practically by everybody. I could mention, for example, the Greeks, also the Romans, the French, the Arabs, the Normans, the Germans, the Spanish, and so on. As you can note, the list is very, very long. What means that? Practically everybody who passed by here left something. His personal contribution to make Sicily what is today. And it's possible to note the presence of this melting pot not only on the features of the monuments, usually very different amongst them, about the style that has been used to create them, but also by observing people. In fact, in Sicily, it's not possible to define a specific ethnic group. By getting around, if, for example, you deal with brown people, most likely they have Spanish origins. Otherwise, if you find blonde Sicilians, most likely they have Norman origins. So it's a mix of ethnics and cultures that found a lasting balance in time. However, in the meantime, I was explaining to you more or less the essence of Sicilian culture. We practically arrived to the crossroad I mentioned before, Quattro Canti. Just the time to locate myself on the exact center, and now we can have a complete view of it. It's simply extraordinary. As far as I've read, its construction took longer than 20 years, so required a lot of efforts and richness to build it. What you're watching now is the municipality of the city of Palermo. That big church over there, at the moment under renovation, is called Santa Caterina. And in general, this is Piazza Pretoria, that means Pretoria Square. You gotta know that this place is called Piazza la Vergogna, that means Square of the Shame. And you can try to guess yourself the reason why. In fact, if you observe carefully the statues, you will note that they are naked. Also from here, it's possible to observe the crossroads of before by far. And finally, practically attached to him, there's this big church, San Giuseppe de Teatini, that hopefully I'll be able to show you later. A final view of Piazza Pretoria and moving towards another very beautiful square called Piazza Bellini. Why this other square is very important and beautiful? Let's say because of the presence of other two crazy churches, very ancient. In fact, these two churches have been built during their Norman domination. It means they are practically 900 years old. The one I'm filming now is called the Chiesa della Martorana. Instead, the other one next to you is called Chiesa di San Cataldo. Both of them are simply amazing, but Chiesa della Martorana is unique as it's the result of artistic style overlays along the centuries. In fact, it has been handled many times. Just to give an example, the side entrance wasn't present originally. I think you're already amazed because of the beauty of the churches of Palermo. But I told myself it's very important to show people the beauty of the same buildings internally. And as example, I've chosen the church of San Giuseppe de Teatini, the one I mentioned before, attached to the crossroads called Quattro Canti. This church is simply gigantic, and trust me, it's not the only one to have the sides. Now I'm filming just the floor that, as you can note yourself, is very rich. I mean, the materials that have been used here are really worth. Okay? A general view of the church. It's simply impressive. Simply, there are no words to describe how beautiful and rich this place is. I tease you to watch it by your eyes sooner or later, by visiting Palermo. Also, I really wonder how it was possible to finance such place. As far as I know, this project has been financed by the Crown of Spain that in the 16th century was colonizing the South and Central America. So most likely realizing this project has been possible thanks to the jewels coming from there. Now the time to say goodbye to Quattro Canti has come, as we are headed towards another astonishing place, the Cathedral of Palermo. As we are at midday, streets are getting crowded more and more, but I'm confident I'll manage to terminate this video. Before getting there, I just wanted to show you the statue of Charles V in Piazza Bologna. We are talking about the Emperor of the world, In fact, during the 16th century, his kingdom was that big, which was said that the sun never sets. In fact, it was extended from the current Germany till South America. If you watch my previous videos, I think you understood by yourself that I'm not from Palermo but from Carini. Carini is just 20 kilometers away from here, so very close. However, why am I telling this? The purpose of this sentence is to let you understand that despite I'm Sicilian and despite I come here frequently, every time for me it's like the first, as there is always something new to discover. In fact, you have to know that Palermo is plenty of monuments like theaters, churches and noble palaces, and I think, to be honest, that it's almost impossible to visit all of them, at least in short time, not definitely in a single holiday. There are many beautiful places in Palermo to visit, perhaps too many, but amongst them there is most likely one that I prefer more than the others, one that every time I look at it I shock, and it is the Cathedral of Palermo. At the moment we are practically walking beside it, and I don't want to show you that yet because it's very important to me to give you a nice view, a nice and complete view of it. Alright? Just 2 seconds of suspense, and here it is. This crazy monument, beyond being incredibly beautiful, it's very important for the history of Sicily. In fact, here, approximately 1000 years ago, was crowned the first king of Sicily, Roger II, belonging to the dynasty of Altavilla. He was Norman. Seems that the sky got cloudy in a sudden. However, what can I tell about this very building? Originally, during the domination of the Byzantines, it was a church. After that, when the Arabs conquered the island, they turned this place into a mosque. And finally, when the Normans brought back the Christianity to Sicily, they made this place a church again. There is a very nice feature I want you to note. There is an inscription in Arabic on the column. It testifies how most of the monuments in Palermo have been made by several and very different cultures. I want to conclude this video by showing better the representation of Santa Rosalia. She is the saint patron of Palermo, and every year on the 15th of July is kept a big procession on her honor. Also, by far, there is the presence of Porta Nuova. It's another big building, so beautiful, that has been built centuries ago like main entrance of the old town of Palermo. A better view of Porta Nuova, Torre Pisano over there, and attached to it Palace of the Normans. I really hope that you like this video. If it's like that, please put a like on it and subscribe the channel. Cheers from Palermo.